Are you filming for Seth?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've met. Bob Chess here. Who is? He took the night off?
Yeah, I mean, he's filming another event. So
You guys are busy as hell.
No,
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah. I just wanted to bust his chops, but if he's not here, I'll have to pick on you.
Hello. All right, we're going to get started in about 1 minute. Whenever 30-second count. Good. I think we're getting ready to start here. So thank you all for coming out tonight, this lovely spring weather. We did think temporarily about postponing this, but we thought, you know what, we had everything set to happen tonight, and we are hardy people that can get through any weather, right? So we figured we would just plow on So officially welcome to the 2025 Candidates Forum in anticipation of the town election coming up. I'm Jen Palmer, the co-president of the Scituate Chamber of Commerce, and I'm joined up here with my colleague for the evening, Bob Chesia, who is from the Scituate Historical Society, and he is the longtime moderator of this event, and we're really thrilled to have him here again running this show. And I don't want to take up too much time. We're on a fairly tight time schedule. We're running this from 7 p.m. to 8:30. And we have a lot to get through. We have some uncontested seats, but we'd love to hear from those people. We have some contested seats. We want to hear everyone's thoughts on certain topics. And we we're going to have this recorded. I didn't see Seth yet. Seth? Good. All right, so we're having this recorded for the Scituate Community Television. So this crowd is actually awesome, and even more than we anticipated in this weather. But this also will be recorded, which is great. So we're speaking to the crowd tonight, but you're also speaking really to the town, because this event will be recorded, and the link will be posted on the Scituate Community Television YouTube channel. So look for that. Tomorrow we'll promote that link so people can see that. So we're just thrilled to be here. This is a really important event, obviously, just to learn and to be informed. So again, we applaud you all for being here. We really applaud all of the people who are stepping up to get involved with the town. It's really an awesome thing, and we really give everyone a lot of credit. So how about a quick early round of applause for everyone stepping up. Okay, that's all really for me. We're going to get started shortly, but before we do, we are going to, I should mention, we had no cards for questions. We have some prepared questions, but we wanted to hear if anyone had sort of last minute questions or important things they wanted covered. So if anyone has any questions that they filled out, I have a few. You can raise your hand, and we have, so people come, just raise your hand high, and we have some friends who are going to walk around and gather some of those questions. And then before we get started officially, we do have a wonderful student from Scituate High School who is a 10th grader, I hear, who is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So that is Maeve Lynch.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And at this point, I'm just going to turn it over to Bob. So, and we're going to have the first group go, then we're going to have shifts kind of, and then have the second group go. So there might be some shifting happening with the note cards here and the candidates. But it's going to be a great night. We're so excited to see you, and take it away, Bob.
First of all, I want to thank everyone that made it out of this nor'easter. I give you a lot of credit. And I want to thank people that made this possible. The Scituate Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Burkhead, Superintendent of Schools, all the volunteers here tonight, and Seth Pfeiffer, Community Television's crew. And thanks everybody for coming. I represent the Scituate Historical Society, and I hope you're all members. Good deal. It helps us. We take care of 13 properties, so everything helps. And you get free admission when we open them up. Tonight we have 15 candidates, 15 seats that are open, and 12 positions are unopposed. So we're going to do those first, and then we'll bring up the select board last. The uncontested candidates have 3 minutes to probably state their case, read a little biography or whatever, what they want. Then they're going to leave the stage, and we have 2 candidates for 1 seat on the housing committee. They'll talk, then everyone leaves, the rest of them, and we bring the select board up, and we'll start with that. We're going to use a 3-minute system, and Matt out front has a yellow card when there's 30 seconds left, and a red card when your time is done. And as we said, there's no cards. If you have questions, please pass them in. And let's start. We're going to start with our first candidate, which is Laura Curran, running for moderator.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Maura Curran. I've lived in Scituate for 30 years, raised 2 daughters here, and am married to Sean Curran. I am running for town moderator. I have served Scituate for the past 20 years in a public capacity, for those of you who may not know. I served on the select board for 10 years, the school committee for 3, and was on the advisory board for 7 years. Obviously, I miss public service because I stepped back up seeing where there was a void. With Jim Toomey retiring, I saw an opportunity to step back in and help our town out. I love town meeting. It's our most basic form of democracy and such an important aspect of our town government. And I feel that being a member and an active participant for the past 20 years has given me some good experience and a viewpoint as to how to continue to ensure that our town meeting is run efficiently, timely, as well as in an unbiased manner to ensure that all voices are heard so that our issues that come before us are all debated very openly, and so we can all arrive at a decision that works best for the town of Scituate. And I want to thank Bob and Pam for organizing this. It's so important to continue to get our issues and our candidates out there in front of the citizens. And thank you for those of you who came out this evening, and I hope that you will support me in my candidacy for town moderator. Thank you.
Next, it's John Danahy, candidate for re-election and prior member of the select board. John.
Yes, good evening, folks. I'm running for re-election on the Board of Assessors, so I'm asking for your vote. I'm running unopposed, but still would love your vote. I have been on the Board of Assessors for the past 6 years. The assessors, the board itself, deals with your property taxes, whether it's dealing with your house, or whether you're your business, whether it's your car, or whether it's dealing with your boat for excise taxes. And so what happens is the assessor, the town assessor, assesses your property at a value, fair market's supposed to be. And if you have a disagreement, you want to abate it, it comes up to the board. That's what I'm on. I'm one of 3. Every year there's a new assessor that's up for re-election. It's created by statute, so the Commonwealth has to have that. And so that's why we have an assessing board to go through that. We also do deferrals for different people. And so those are also that come before us. And so that's what I'm doing. As far as my background goes, I've been in Scituate now for 6 years, 3 kids. I've been through the public schools. I have my business here. I'm a lawyer down in Greenbush. And I was on this, I was on the Zoning Board of Appeals for 6 years and chairman during the early 2000s. And then in 2007, I thought it'd be wise to run for the select board. Little did I know that it kept me on for 12 years, and I finally decided to hand the baton off in 2019 to Karen Conley, who's now looking to pass that baton on to the next select board member. And I enjoyed my time there. I was with Maura and with other people. We attempted to do a lot of good things, a lot of policy, a lot of changes, good or bad, but it was very rewarding. And now at this point, I look to continue in the capacity as the Board of Assessors. Other than that, I want to thank the Chamber. It's very important to have this opportunity for candidates, and in particular the new select board members. The choice is going to be important. It's going to be important because you're going to be taking this town into the next 2030s. So it's an important election. Other than that, thank you very much. It's nice to be here, and I'll now pass this on to the next candidate.
Carrie Borkowski, School Committee, unopposed, and candidate for re-election. Yeah, I'm doing it by the way they were on the ballot instead of alphabetical. Hopefully.
Is this one? Yeah, there we go. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Carrie Warkowski, and I'm running for re-election to the Scituate School Committee. I first want to thank the Scituate Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum, and Karen Canfield, the Select Board Liaison, for her ongoing partnership and support. Before I share why I'm running again, I want to remind everyone of the school committee's key responsibilities. According to the Massachusetts Association of School Committee, our role includes setting district policy, hiring and evaluating our superintendent, approving the budget, and assuring accountability for student achievement. This work focuses on governance, not management, and it requires thoughtful oversight, deep listening, and asking the right questions. I'm running for re-election because we have more work to do. Over the past few years, our district has made significant progress in reviewing and updating our curriculum. We're beginning the vital work of implementing a continuous improvement plan to track progress, outcomes, and identify further updates to our curriculum. District staff and leaders are busy working to strengthen and expand our multi-tiered system of support, remaining dedicated to ensuring that every student can learn, thrive, and reach their full potential. There's still work ahead, particularly in areas of communication strategies, maintaining our existing buildings, addressing technology and generative AI in our classrooms, ensuring accountability, providing staff support, promoting mental health and welfare, and enhancing career and technical education. I'm also proud to support the incredible efforts that are going into building the future of our new elementary school. I'm hopeful that new innovative ideas will be presented during our meetings and discussions with school leaders, students, and the Scituate community. Recently, 3 of our high school students, as part of their civic engagement project, proposed an idea of reviving the driver's education in Scituate. So we'll be collaborating with Dr. Rabb and those students to explore those possibilities. We also recently had an inspiring presentation, and if you haven't watched it, you should go back and watch it, from our robotics team. And the school committee is exploring ways to support the growing interest in this talented team of students. It's ideas and programs like these that make Scituate strong and remarkable. And I'm excited to be involved and look forward to what is to come. Serving on this committee has been a privilege. I'm grateful to collaborate with a team that asks tough questions, challenges each other, and always keeps students at the forefront. I've learned a lot and remain committed to learning, listening, and supporting Scituate schools with integrity and care. My name is Carrie Warkowski, and I am running for the Scituate School Committee, and I'm asking for your vote on May 31st, which is next Saturday. So I hope you'll come out and vote. Thank you.
Next is School Committee Position 2, Nicole Brandolini, which is another candidate for re-election. Nicole?
All right, thank you. I had to write something down or else I would never be able to stick to 2 or 3 minutes. And most people that know me, that's not possible. All right, well, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Nicole Brandolini, and I'm seeking a 3rd term on the Scituate School Committee. I am grateful for the support of the community, the select board, parents, caregivers, teachers, staff, and administrators to run for another term. I feel that one of, if not the most important part of this role, is building relationships and trust, and will continue to uphold my commitment to prioritizing that going forward. To that end, I want to reaffirm to the community that I can be counted on to respond to emails, return phone calls, and attend any and all meetings asked or required of me in this role, and represent Scituate to advocate for the needs and interests of all 2,800 Scituate Public School students. I am proud of our committee's attention to smart, conservative budgeting. We have made intentional investments in building maintenance, curriculum, professional development, and MTSS over the last several years. We are regularly compared to other local towns, and while others have already had to make cuts to staffing and coursework, I am pleased to say that we have been able to expand opportunities for students, including increasing AP courses and developing partnerships with local businesses for students to have direct vocational internships in their field of interest. We have not had to reduce staff nor reduce programming, and have not had to increase the financial burden on families by adding in fees for kindergarten or athletics. Operating the district within the means of our budget amidst increased costs in special education, healthcare, and general operating costs. Again, this is due to smart investment in who and what we already have and not expanding beyond what we need. The Hatherley Cushing School project is on schedule to break ground this fall and is $8 million under budget, with 90% of the design having been completed. This has been and continues to be a partnership between the school, town, and broader community, and as the chair of the school building committee, I'm happy to serve and look forward to the next steps in the project and keeping our promise to the community and neighborhood on cost, practicality of design, and functionality for all in town to use the space. What can we do better? Communication. And we are working on that with an analysis underway of our comms systems. As I mentioned above, supporting the mental health needs of students and staff, that is something professionally that I have a passion for and would like us to focus on going forward. There's, of course, much more to do and to improve upon. And sometimes there are small wins along the way, too. After last night's wonderful Civics Action Showcase, I am empowered by the work of 3 sophomores to work on advocating for more fresh fruit in the cafeteria at the high school starting tomorrow. Thank you for your time and for your vote, hopefully, on May 31st.
Next, we have 2 candidates for library trustees when there's 2 seats open. We'll start with Kevin Carlton.
I'm Kevin Carlton. I've been a member of the Board of Trustees at the library since 1999, and some might say that I'm the poster child for term limits. I ran unopposed initially, and every year since, so I would encourage anybody who would like to get into town government at the elected level to run for the board next time. The secret to having an excellent library is to have an excellent library staff. We are very fortunate to have an extraordinary director, assistant director, and support staff. Of course, they need the resources to operate, and that's one of the things that the trustees do. We advocate for funding through the town, through the Friends of the Foundation. I should warn you, the foundation is very aggressive. They will go after your wallet, but for a good purpose. We have a renovated library that I think is a spectacular facility. We need to be able to make sure that the town maintains it. We shouldn't let the library sit in the back and wait for whatever funding might be available for maintenance. Another concern that I have is access to materials. There's a movement across the country to ban books, that some individuals feel that they can make arguments why certain books shouldn't be accessible. Anybody in town can appeal whether or not a book should be present, and it will be reviewed by the staff. If you don't like their decision, they will come to us, and the trustees will make a determination on whether or not you, the people of this town, should have access to reading material. I am running unopposed, as is my cohort, Elizabeth Holthouse. Carlton comes before Holthouse in the alphabet, so I seem to get more votes than her, which is a very good sense of importance. She's much nicer than me, so if you only vote once, vote for Elizabeth this time. I won't suffer for it, but I definitely advocate for Elizabeth, and I turn the microphone over.
Hey, Elizabeth Holthouse, you're next.
Thank you, Kevin. I basically echo everything Kevin has said. Although we didn't trade ideas, we feel the same way about this, and we talked about this, that we always emphasize that we are running for 2 open positions. It's not a joke, but it is what it is. I am also running unopposed. I'm running for the 4th time. This was the time I really thought I might not do it again. But after all that I see that's going on in the world, I decided this is really not the year I want to step back. I really want to be as involved as possible to do what I can. I believe more strongly than ever in the vital role that the library plays in our community. And as a trustee, I've always seen my assignment basically as, in addition to, we approve library policies and sometimes procedures, but policies, but also I'm basically an ambassador in the community and in our town, and an advocate for the library at both the town, state, and federal levels. I really want to stay in this position, and I think in my coming term, because, like I say, we're unopposed, it's really my plan to sort of shift my energies to advocating on the state and federal levels so that we can hopefully continue to get at least some of the funding that we've come to rely on. In addition to that, we read a lot lately. There's been several articles, mostly editorials, in the papers and online about how important the library is to our communities in these difficult times. That they provide safe spaces, they support connections in the communities, and they provide free resources in all media for all ages, and as well as spaces for folks to have gatherings and meetings. As a lifelong learning is a real personal passion of mine, so I support all those ideas totally, and everything I do ultimately will lead to keeping the libraries intact as we know them today and building out as community resources. So I remain committed to all that, and I welcome all your support to continue in this role. And that's about it. I'll go stay before you.
All right, now all the unopposed candidates can leave the stage, and we'll bring up the two candidates for Housing Authority, which are down at the end. They're here, they're down at the end. You guys can leave. Sure. Unless you want to stay out there. So what do you think? They did a good job, huh? Okay, next we'll have a statement from Francis Buckley, and then William Geary, and then I have a question for them. So we'll start with Mr. Buckley.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? No. Good evening. Thank you, Chamber of Commerce and Historical Society, for hosting this forum, and to MC. My name is Francis Buckley, and I'm running to fill a vacancy on the Housing Authority. I'm a lifelong resident of Scituate who spent the summers in Hammerock, but I've lived in Hammerock full-time for the past 28 years. I'm retired, and I have spent my professional career with the federal government and in the banking industry. I was a senior examiner with the U.S. Treasury Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, and had been an examiner of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. I also spent some time as a senior vice president at the former Scituate Federal Savings Bank. And ironically, some 30 years ago, I had been employed part-time by the Scituate Housing Authority, collecting trash. So I have kind of an interesting and diverse background. I use the earnings from my job at the Housing Authority to put a down payment on the house that I own and currently live in Hammerock. My professional career with the government and in banking was highly focused in auditing, finance, forensic accounting, and compliance, and including all aspects of corporate governance, evaluating for the propriety of third-party contract relationships, strategic planning, and capital improvement-related issues. I've never run for an elected position, and in all honesty, I've never run for an elected position, and in all honesty, thought that if a vacancy existed, I could add value to the Scituate Housing Authority Commission. I was unaware that the Scituate Housing Authority had appointed another member upon the resignation of a former member. So I found myself in a contested race. In my retirement years, I've been active volunteering and assisting elderly, disabled, low-income, and veterans secure housing and a variety of available social services. In closing, please consider my candidacy to fill a vacancy on the Housing Authority, particularly given my experience in auditing, forensic accounting, and management oversight. Thank you for your time, and be safe on your travels back home.
Next, William Geary.
Good evening. I'm a little rusty at speaking in public, so you'll have to bear with me tonight, but I'll try to get through this. Thank you to the organizers for holding this event, and thank you to all who came out tonight in the bad weather. As Francis alluded to, I have been serving as a commissioner at the Housing Authority since August 24 after being appointed by the select board to fill a temporary vacancy. Knowing it was a temporary appointment, can folks hear me? Yep. Knowing it was a temporary appointment, I felt it was the opportunity, and knowing that there would be an election, that this was an opportunity for me to kind of try the role on for size and see if it was a good fit for my experiences and qualifications. Not having served or run in Scituate prior to this, I've been a resident for 45 years. It's probably worthwhile to give a little bit of my background and bio. I was raised in Dorchester, but my family rented and mined in the summer in the 50s, so Scituate has a very fond spot in my heart. I remember my dad taking me down to see the Etrusco on the rocks down in 57. I was like 5 or 6. But I came back to Scituate after graduating from Boston University. I took a job teaching at the Sunlight House on Branch Street. I don't know if folks, I'm sure folks remember the school. It was there that I met my wife, Ann. She was a townie from the West End. And we ended up getting married in her folks' backyard on Clapp Road a few years later. So, and shortly after that, we bought our house on Musquashnet Pond and have been homeowners and residents for the last 45 years here. In the meantime, after leaving Sunlight House, I began a career in child welfare in 1976. I started out as a protective services social worker in Boston. A very interesting job, I can show you. When the new Department of Social Services came along in 1980, we had to apply for our jobs, and I got a job in DSS. And at DSS, I moved up and assumed a couple of different roles. I was eventually promoted to a statewide role as the Director of Family-Based Services, where I oversaw vendor contracts, therapeutic services, child care, and domestic violence shelters. I also implemented group homes for pregnant and parenting teenagers in response to welfare reform in the 90s, writing standards for those programs that are still operating today. I was later assigned to work with Deloitte Consulting, developing an information system that met federal specs for a nationwide data standard. My area of expertise was the resource directory and vendor payments for DCF. That system went live in 1998, and it is still the operating record for DCF today. After retiring in 2013, I was asked to return part-time to assist with moving the system I'd helped develop to the web, finally ending my career in 2022 after nearly 45 years. In the past 9 months on the board, I've been impressed and inspired by the hard work and expertise displayed by the staff and board as they carry out their mission of supporting decent, affordable housing for the residents of Wheeler, Lincoln, and Central Parks. Although my background has not been in public housing, my experience with teen group homes and domestic violence shelters has been very useful to me. I've worked very hard to learn about public housing and the many laws and regulations that govern it, the very many. I recognize that Scituate is facing many challenges in the area of public housing accessibility, including the potential for diminished HUD support of existing assistance programs, development of gate school, and state mandates, including 40B. I believe that my career in education have prepared me for the role of commissioner, and I would much appreciate the opportunity to continue my tenure at the authority and support its collaboration with town government in addressing those challenges. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We're going to take a little break while we get the candidates to select board up here. We're going to clear some of the tables off. But I think you saw the cards that went around. I hope people filled them out. I'm sure there's a lot of good questions. I would guess one's probably about lettuce at Maria's maybe, but I don't know. That's usually a popular one. I'm sorry, that's on me. I had a question for him. town's two biggest challenges with regard to affordable housing? Mr. Buckley, you can start. The two biggest, what do you see as the town's two biggest challenges with regard to affordable housing?
Okay, excellent question. The recent mandates by the MBTA, as well as this whole 40B legislation, certainly present challenges to the Scituate residents. And I think the Scituate Housing Authority can go a lot further in terms of alleviating some of the housing-related issues. Second, I guess that's really kind of my primary issue. Second biggest challenge, I think, is the pending resignation or retirement of the existing executive director of the Housing Authority. And I'd really like to be part of the selection process and work toward being able to streamline some of the processes within the Housing Authority to create efficiencies. Those are my two points. I could go on.
That's good. Yeah, thank you. Would you like the question again?
Same question for me.
Same question. What do you see as the town's two biggest challenges with regard to affordable housing?
I would say there's the two that I would identify as the availability of funding, essentially, to create new housing. My concern right now with the climate at HUD right now, the existing units that we have and assistance that we're getting at the federal level is in danger. It's hard to know what will be happening with that down the line. The uncertainty, I think, is troubling. And then the other big one for Scituate in my mind is availability of suitable housing that goes with the funding question. Where is the funding coming and where will these units be built and located in town? I think that's a major challenge for us.
Thank you. Candidates for the select board can come up now.
Did we miss any questions from the audience? Anyone else have any questions that they, okay, I'll come grab that.
Okay, like I said before, you'll have 3 minutes to introduce yourself, and then we'll start the questions, and they'll be 3 minutes apiece. And we have a yellow card for 30 seconds left and a red card when the 3 minutes is up. So, we'll start with Dr. Nico. He's closest to me. And one of the writings actually pertains to what my first question was going to be, so I think I'll use that. It says, how much of a priority will be the revitalization of North Scituate? Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself, yeah. Nico, statement, please. Thanks for catching that.
I got it. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you very much. My name is Dr. Nico Fonsenko, and thank you very much to the Scituate Chamber of Commerce, to the Historical Society, to the Scituate Public Schools for letting us be in here tonight, and to Scituate Community Television for recording this for everybody in town who couldn't make it out in the storm, like all of us New Englanders out here. So thank you very much. My goal is to stand for a select board because it's something I've really wanted to do for quite a long time in town. My wife Angela and I have been here for 22 years, raised our 3 kids here, sent our kids through the public schools. My youngest is a junior here now and 2 away in college. And until recently, when I have thought about running for select board in the past, it's really been something that has gotten to be a challenge for me to think about because for me, for my wife, family first is really our big motto, and with 3 kids at home, we've always wanted to be there for them as much as possible in every way. And until recently, that was always something that I wanted to focus on, and it really prevented me from taking what I consider a really serious job in this town, which with lots of responsibilities, lots of decision making, lots of homework, lots of education to make good decisions. To really think that I could bite that off and do a good job for the town of Scituate. And over the last couple of years, 2 of my kids are off in college. My 3rd is looking at college now. I've stepped off of a couple of other boards that I've served on. I was a scoutmaster in town until recently, and after 7 years, stepped back from the Boy Scouts here. And so I really feel in many ways I finally have the appropriate amount of time to do that. I love this town. I didn't grow up here. We moved here by choice after moving quite a bit all around the country, and we haven't left since. My friend used to joke that I couldn't seem to stay in one place for more than 2 years. We've been here 22, and I think that says something about how much we love this town, how much I've learned to just have a passion for not just being near the ocean on wonderful beaches, but really the people here. It's really become something that I just have a deep passion for, and I've served in many places in town. And this is a place I can start to do even more, learn even more about how the town runs, and be a part of how we make really wise decisions going forward. You know, one of the things that Mr. Goodrich said at the town meeting a month ago was that 19 out of the 21 towns in our South Shore had overrides this year. One of the things I really want to do is make sure that we're fiscally responsible in our town, and make sure that as we go forward, we continue to balance the idea between smart and managed growth, providing for our townspeople, providing affordability for them to stay here, have their kids come back and become part of this community, and really make sure that we're protecting people's tax money. So I'm really excited to run for select board, and I hope people will consider me on the 31st. Thank you.
Next, David Daugherty.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you to the Chamber and to the Historical Society. As we met in the lobby, I said to Bob, I said, I remember sitting at the breadboard with my dad. I was probably 10 or 12 years old, maybe even a little bit younger. And Bob's parents would be in the corner having their breakfast. And that's, in that place, everything got done. You figured it out and you made it happen. So it's a nice memory. So my name is David Daugherty, and I'm running for the Scituate Select Board. I represent 5 generations in the town of Scituate. I've lived and worked in Scituate for 54 years. I started working at my dad's lobster boat when I was 7. When I was 10, I delivered newspapers on my bike around the neighborhood of Manlot Road. This is when I learned the importance of managing a business and money. I attended Scituate schools throughout to junior high, 1st through 6th at Cushing, and then 7th and 8th at Gates, which was my father's old high school. And then I went to South Shore Votech. I was guided there through great guidance counselors at the Gates School that saw that that's where most of my potential may be. After graduating from high school, I worked for a few commercial fishing boats and eventually landed as a mate on Frank Meraki's boat, the Christopher Andrew. And I worked for Frank's boat for like 2.5 years. During that time, I supplemented my income utilizing my school training in auto body repair, fixing and selling used cars. At this time, I started a family and I turned my career towards auto body technology, which later turned into funds liberation. So it was way more work to actually get the money from the insurance company than it was to spend it on the car, but you had to do all of it. Yeah, you get no certification for that, you just get a paycheck. And I established my own collision shop in the West End, and I used to ride by there on bus C with Junie Bierce when I was going to Cushing School. And I can remember clearly peering out the window, looking at such a place of interest, and not knowing I would spend almost 40 years there. Currently, I'm the captain of my own lobster boat in Scituate Harbor, the Island Grove. It was a 38-year quest to reach that goal. It doesn't come easy, but unfortunately, I can't quit. And when I'm told I can't do something, it's basically fuel on the fire to make it happen. It's just, I'm sorry, I apologize for that. Scituate's always been my home, and it's been where I have always spent my time giving back. Just a few of the things that we've done as far as volunteering. Girls softball assistant coach, Cub Scout den leader, father of an Eagle Scout, and uncle of 2 Eagle Scouts. Recreational shellfish advocate and volunteer, Scituate Shellfish Advisory Board active participant, Scituate Waterways Commission, Alternative Revenue Committee at Waterways, girls softball team sponsors, Seahawk hockey team sponsorship, and Scituate Rotary Club. Oh, there's the red card. I got ready. Anyways, thank you so much for entertaining me tonight, and I appreciate a vote in the future, so thank you.
Thank you, David. Mary Ann Lewis, you're next.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to thank the Chamber and the Historic Society for hosting this forum and allowing the candidates to introduce themselves to the voters, and the voters in turn to meet the candidates. I'd like to thank the members of the audience that showed up in person and those watching at home. Without an audience, there is no stage, so thank you. I am Mary Ann Lewis, and I am running for Select Board position number 1 because I think experience matters. With over 35 years of both private and public sector experience, I believe that my professional and educational background will allow me to make a meaningful contribution to the Select Board on day 1. A little bit about me. I have worn many hats over the years and held many titles. The most important one is that of mom. I have 2 beautiful boys, now adult sons, of whom I am extremely proud and very grateful for. I have been a practicing attorney in good standing in the state for over 30 years, starting out as an assistant district attorney and later establishing my own private law practice. I've had the privilege of serving in elected and appointed positions at all levels of government, federal, state, and municipal. I was a staff assistant to Speaker Tip O'Neill. I've served on various municipal finance boards, housing authorities, and 4 times was elected to the Massachusetts House of Representatives. Between my law practice and my consulting business, I have over 25 years of experience in the private sector and understand the many challenges that small businesses face. I'm currently working with the auditor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, who is charged with making sure that our tax dollars are spent efficiently, effectively, in accordance with law and regulation. I have long-standing roots in this community, dating back nearly 100 years when my grandfather built a house on Stone Ave. We summited here, and 25 years ago we bought our own house on Lighthouse Road. Scituate has evolved in that time period. From a town that no one used to be able to pronounce, let alone find on a map, we are now one of the most highly sought-after zip codes in the state. With 2 vacancies creating a 40% turnover on the board, I believe experience is important to understanding and balancing the challenges that lie ahead. I've knocked on hundreds of doors during this campaign and reaffirmed that folks are happy to live here, take pride in their property and their community, and yet express concern about coastal resiliency, affordability, and our aging infrastructure. We must do everything we can to be resilient against rising sea levels. We must look for ways to maintain our business sector. We have a rich and storied history that dates back hundreds of years, and as old as our history is some of our infrastructure. We have taken measures to improve our schools, public safety buildings, water quality and sewer capacity, and those efforts should continue in a manner that is fiscally responsible and does not price our seniors out of their homes. We have wonderful departments in police and fire, and they deserve our support. Quality educational opportunities, not just in reading, writing, and arithmetic, but also in robotics and the trades. We are blessed to have a multi-generational makeup to our community, and it is important to consider all constituencies and the economic impact on each as we make decisions around the aforementioned. I respectfully ask for your vote on May 31st, and I, in return, will commit to putting my experience to work on your behalf. Thank you.
Next candidate for Select Board is Freya Schlegel. Freya?
Is my microphone on? Good evening, Scituate. My name is Freya Schlegel. I'm not a politician. I'm a mom. I'm a small business owner here in Scituate, and since I've lived here since 1997, but I've been an advocate for clean water since 2018 in Scituate. I am a full-time, year-round resident. My private practice is in North Scituate Village. My family is here, including my parents, my in-laws, and my extended family. My kids attended Erdman, Cushing, Gates, and Scituate High. In 2018, the brown water situation was out of control, and a lot of people in the community stepped up looking for answers. I was one of them. My passion for creating change prompted me to apply for the Water Resource Commission. I was appointed in 2020. At that time, we reinstated the Rain Barrel program, wrote and passed the outdoor water use bylaw, and also implemented the rebate program for water-saving appliances in Scituate. I was the treasurer of the Friends of Scituate Clean Water that helped to get the funding for the water treatment passed at 2 town meetings. I volunteered with the North and South River Watershed Association for 3 years, testing the water in the rivers. The health and safety of our community depends on that ecosystem. I supported my friend's staff to write and pass a citizen's petition for water-saving appliances in the municipal buildings that passed at town meeting. I have attended multiple meetings about the old Stockbridge dump site that was not properly capped and may be affecting the water quality. I have been involved with other issues in Scituate, including the rocks at Egypt Beach and the berm and the trash barrels at the beach. And as the select board now and the past know, I have been a very squeaky wheel in town matters for years. My passion is for Scituate. With my time on the board, I would like to ensure our drinking water is clean and safe, and that there's adequate supply for all who live here. I want to ensure our ocean, rivers, and tributaries are clean, and that the swamps and woodlands are protected. Scituate should not lose its historical charm due to progress. We as a town must support our local economy. We must support our fishermen, our aquaculture, our agriculture, and make sure that the food supply is local. I would like to see sewer in North Scituate, allowing for more affordable housing and economic growth. In these uncertain times, our select board and town administration must work closely with our state in order to get funding for our coastal resiliency. We must work within our means without taxing residents out of our community. I promise to put 110% effort into my continued work for Scituate. Please vote for me May 31st.
The first question I have, we'll start with Dr. Nico, who's closest to me. Many towns around us have voted for operational budget overrides. Situate's lucky we haven't yet. If faced with this choice in Scituate, would you support an operational override to maintain services, or would you look for ways to reduce services and costs?
Thank you. It's an awesome question, and it's obviously going to relate to a lot of things we do in town over this next few years. And it really always relates to what the select board has to do for this town. The ultimate answer, unfortunately, is a combination of both. I don't think we ever arrange a budget in our town without assessing what we're doing right now, what we're doing well, what we need to keep doing and improve upon, and what we need to be careful of so that we can arrange to keep track with rising taxes that we want to maintain as low as possible, to maintain the affordability for our residents, to make sure that people can afford housing in this town that keeps getting higher at cost, to make sure that we can attack incoming challenges that change over time. Things like seawall construction isn't something that we can just decide not to do as sea levels rise. It's something we need to have a long-term plan to attack. Things like our schools, we absolutely cannot just lay off teachers and assume that that's a big way to fill a budget gap. We have to be careful to make sure that we maintain the level of education that's so important in this town. At the same time, we really do have to be fiscally responsible to our residents. We are one team in this town. Regardless of the makeup of the Board of Selectmen, we really have to be responsible to the taxpayers. And that's not us up here, that's not us in the select board room, that is all of us in our town. So it's really important to me that we find ways to be fiscally responsible. We have more than the team of 5 people in the Board of Selectmen doing that work. We have a capital planning committee, we have an advisory committee, we have lots of experts in our departments that are really excellent and have a vast wealth of knowledge over years and decades of service to this town. Many of whom, most of whom, live in our town, pay our taxes, live in houses that are rising in cost in our town. And so, if I'm elected to select board, I really want to focus on making sure that we have good relationships in those departments, to speak consistently, constantly with our departments in town hall. But also, I really want to make sure that if a override was proposed, and if an override was going to have to be faced, that before that happens, that we go out in our town, in our neighborhoods. One of the things I really want to focus on, if I'm elected, is to spend time having office hours every month, at least once or twice a month, not in town hall, but in our neighborhoods. To go to places like Humrock that often doesn't get enough attention. To go to places like North Scituate that sometimes feels like they don't have enough attention. And do town meetings and listening sessions in those neighborhoods where we live, so that I can collect information, bring it back to our board, so that we can get the best decision possible when difficult decisions like financing are involved. Thank you.
Thank you. David, same question.
Yeah, sure. I think an override should be the very last option on any kind of funding like that. And I think that prior to the decision to do an override, everything should be looked at, everything should be vetted, everything should come out, and that should be the very last thing we do is to do an override. Sorry, I'm not as long as Nico, but that's what I got.
Marianne, would you like me to reread the question, or you got it?
No, I think I have it. Thank you, Bob. Like any attorney may answer any question, I will start with, it depends. Generally speaking, I do not support operational overrides. Individual households have to learn how to live within their budgets, and I think government entities should do the same. We do have a option or a method by which we can do debt exclusion overrides for capital projects. We've seen that many times in the past couple of decades here, and that falls under a different category, but the question pertains to operational overrides. if you continue to do operational overrides without looking at the spending part of the equation, then you never get out from underneath that 8 ball. We mostly derive our revenue source from property taxes. So in the end, that's going to come out of, the valuations of the taxpayers' pocketbook. I think the important thing to look at if you run up against those pressure points is to see what areas are putting those pressures on the certain points, and look at the demographics and the needs of those demographics and how those may be shifting not only at the intersection of time and place that the override discussion is happening, but where are we 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, whether that's under school budgets, housing concerns, police, fire, coastal resiliency concerns, etc. So generally speaking, I do not support operational overrides, but again, would have to see what the chessboard looks like at the time the question is posed. Thank you.
Mayor, do you need me to repeat the question? Or you good?
No, thank you, Bob. I would hope that we wouldn't get in that situation, that we could try to balance our budget within our means. I believe that there's positions right now that are not filled, and I would hope to see that we could figure it out without doing another override.
Okay, thank you. My next question, I actually got a note card, and it ties right into it. I'm going to start with David next. Would you support bringing town sewer to North Scituate online? And the question is, how much of a priority will the revitalization of North Scituate be for you?
Number one, I definitely do support increasing our infrastructure for sewer in North Scituate. It's been a subject for a number of years, if not decades, and I think it needs to be addressed. I think what will be interesting is how it transforms that section of town and what it does, how it affects existing businesses that have been able to survive down there, whether it be through maybe more affordable rent versus the transition of North Scituate into yet another business hub in town. It's pretty interesting. We have 3 unique places in town that are so deep in business, the Harbor, Greenbush, and North Scituate. So I think we have a pretty good idea what happened in Greenbush when the zoning changed, and the sewers should be in North Scituate. I think that the elephant in the room is what condition is the sewer plant in, and can it accept what North Scituate will provide. Thank you.
I've been the self-appointed bring back Jamie's head of the clock for many, many years. I absolutely support bringing North Scituate online. I think it's critically important that we provide that infrastructure to, I had mentioned in my opening remarks that we need to do everything we can to attract and increase our business sector. It's an important and vital part of our revenue generating mechanisms that we have as a municipality, and bringing sewer to North Scituate will help that effort.
Thank you.
I am a business owner in North Scituate. I absolutely support sewer to North Scituate, even though it might be to my detriment, because the rents, of course, will go up when the business overlay district booms with sewer. But I think it's absolutely important for our town to have that, and hopefully have some affordable housing in North Scituate as well.
Thank you. Mary Ann, we're going to start with you for the next one. Do you
mind if I answer?
Oh, hold it.
It's all right.
Boy, I'm really cool. I got all my cards here. Let's screw it up. Okay, Nico, you're up.
Thanks very much. So I also agree that ultimately, yes, sewer needs to be brought online in North Scituate. It's really crucial to the infrastructure in that part of town. My wife Angela and I were actually really lucky, purely lucky enough that when we moved into our house on Route 380 near the Rotary, it was right during the revitalization of the train project, and we were forced to go on to sewer. At the time, as a new homeowner, I really didn't know what the heck that even meant, to be honest. And after learning quite a bit about it through the process and after being part of town, I know exactly how lucky I am to be on town sewer. And it was, over 50 years ago that this town had a chance to have town sewer mainly funded by the state. But at that time, Scituate was not a full-time, full-year community for all of our residents. It was more of a beach community. And over those 50 years, it has really grown into a place that not only has grown from population, but also grown for infrastructure. We're in the process of building our new water treatment plant. And as that project completes, I'm sure that in our time on the board, hopefully, we will start to discuss the next phase that very likely will include uptick in sewer renovation as well. So yes, we need to bring sewer online, but that also dovetails with the revitalization of North Scituate as a possible business hub in town. Because when we talk about affordability for our residents, one of the main things we need to do is consider how we increase the business tax base in our town, the corporate tax base in our town, to take a little bit of pressure off of the residential tax base in our town. The best way we could do that is by bringing more businesses in, and sewer is fundamental to the infrastructure needed to do that in North Scituate. Thanks.
Thank you. Mary Ann, do you support housing at the old gates?
I just want to make one additional comment to the previous question. The other reason it's very important to bring that infrastructure to North Scituate and revitalize the business district there is because it's away from the ocean. And so our primary business district in the harbor, obviously, has its challenges during storms. Do I support housing at the gates? At the town meeting, for those of you who were there, that it was a very energized discussion regarding the gates proposal, and it was passed to send or authorize the select board to continue discussions regarding the gates affordable housing proposal. My understanding of it up until this juncture is that when the current board sent out an RFP or solicitation for proposals, that it came back as housing would be the best use for it. Obviously, Gates needs to be repurposed. It's sitting there, not doing anything and costing us money to not provide any benefit to the town currently. So if I have the privilege of serving on the select board, I very much look forward to doing a deeper dive into that issue. The concerns I understand for the people historically that have an emotional attachment to the history or their own experiences at the gates was that they didn't want to sort of destroy or erase what they consider to be a landmark in the town. I think that the private developer that has, the only one actually that responded to the RFP, is cognizant of that. The board has made them aware of that. They are working hard to sort of replicate and recreate what the historical aesthetics of the Gates School represents to this community. And so I applaud that effort and would certainly be willing to make sure that those concerns are addressed as we engage in that process. Housing in general, obviously, is not just an issue of affordable housing for the town of Scituate, but it's an issue across the Commonwealth. So we have to look at smart development, feasible, what's viable, what's affordable, and be willing to sort of think outside of the box in the sense of engaging in these types of private-public partnerships that work for the demographic that we are trying to serve. If you've been in this town for a while, and again, I referenced it in my opening remarks, there's been a tremendous evolution. Part of the pressure of housing with 40B developers years ago weren't interested in spending money in a town that no one knew where it was, where it existed, or how to pronounce it. So now that it's worth the developer's time to come in and make use of the 40B laws and are going to create challenges for us. And so where to do that, how to do it, the impact it has on our infrastructure, the immediate neighborhood, not only on water and sewer capacity, but also on traffic capacity. You know, you never saw a traffic build up on the Driftway before, but now you do. At certain times of the day, you know, there's traffic on 3A that on the Driftway leading up to 3A in that rotary. I'm getting red carded, so I'll stop there. Thank you.
I support affordable housing absolutely at Gates if it is feasible and if it's truly affordable. I think there's a lot of issues that we don't have the full numbers on as far as moving the heating and cooling, as far as the traffic, as far as the field. There's just a lot of things that haven't been fully vetted, I guess, with the correct numbers, and that is going to be on the town. The developer's not going to pay, as far as I know. So yes, if it's affordable, absolutely, especially being right next to the Council on Aging, I think it would be amazing.
Great.
Thank you. Ultimately, I really strongly support gaining more affordable housing in Scituate. But I'll go back to something I said earlier about needing to really listen carefully and hard to the residents out in town. That question is very likely one of the largest questions that's going to immediately land on the desk of the board over the next 1 to 2 years. But we've had exactly one meeting so far in public space about that project. And so the thing I would urge people to understand is that we need probably 30 more public meetings all over town to even come up with the questions we need to ask, let alone assume that myself or anybody running for election here or on the board currently has all the questions to ask and then needs to go out and get those answers carefully for our residents. 262, I believe, is the number of units we currently need to go from our 6.5% affordable housing in this town to the 10% we need to be able to do anything strongly about controlling 40Bs that come into town from outside, use our land, abuse our conservation spaces, build what they want, take that money and leave town and don't reinvest it in our town. I feel really strongly that we need to manage our 40Bs and find ways to do that, but I'll be honest, we all know that it's going to take longer than the 3 years I have if I'm elected to get those 262 units we need. So we need to have a plan with the communities to not just try to throw affordable housing into places, but to spread it throughout our town so that we don't just have one massive unit somewhere. That being said, at Old Gates, I do currently support the idea of exploring affordable housing for a couple of main reasons. Number one, because that affordable housing concept is going to bring a third party in as what we would call a friendly 40B, meaning the town has a lot of purview over it, a lot of controlling interest in how it's built, how it's set up, who it's going to serve. It also creates an opportunity for a third party to take a lot of that cost of building a large complex off of our taxpayers. There are still lots of questions about what types of monies the town would be responsible for, like the rec department, like the AC system, like moving the fields, moving sidewalks, etc. But ultimately, I do support the idea of exploring it. And mainly, I want to make sure that as we tackle it together. I want to make sure that all of our residents have that opportunity to chime in. And I want to make sure that the communication that we put out through the Board of Selectmen and through Town Hall gets to our residents so that they know exactly when those meetings are, so that they can provide their questions, provide their feedback, and give us a lot of time to give our opinions to that third party before we do anything on Old Gates. Thanks.
David, same question.
Yes. I hope you weren't going to give me a different one. So I guess there's a number of things that roll through my head on this. What is affordable housing today, what is that amount? Those are numbers I struggle with, because what someone says is affordable to one person may not be affordable to another person. So that's a question I have. As far as the building goes, as I understand, and I haven't been deeply involved in any of that conversation, but from what I've read on or what I've seen on, is the building itself can't be used for anything else. So really, if you were remodeling a building in order to make it housing, that's a plus, because you're not tearing something down and you're able to reuse something. So basically, what we're talking about is, does that area in town support affordable housing, number one? And number two, is the housing open to anyone or just open to Scituate? So, as I understand, it's open to everybody. So really, we're looking at the space, and we're looking at how can we finance taking down what's there, because obviously it can't be used for anything else for all the studies that were done. So before I commit to saying that I support affordable housing at Gates, I need to make sure I understand it's the location and nothing else. It's not the building. It's just where it is. And is that the right place for the number of units that they're talking about? So thank you.
Next question will be to Freya. As a member of the Select Board, what will your skill set bring to the board? And as we know, the Select Board is a liaison to committees. What committees do you think you would be an asset to?
One of my skill sets is that I'm a big PIA. I just peck away until I get the answers that I want. I research all the things that I want to learn about, and I think those are very positive attributes to have on the board, because I will, if I don't know the answer, I'll find the answer, and I'm absolutely willing to communicate with people and help. The second question was, what boards would I liaison?
The second question is, the Select Board is a liaison to different committees in town. Which committee do you think you would be an asset to?
An asset to, or yeah, I mean, hopefully any of them, because I would learn what they're doing. I mean, the ones that I'm most interested in would probably be the water, the conservation, and the historic aspect. But I don't even know that I know all of the boards and committees, because there is so many, and there's so many like new ones coming on. But I'll figure it out if I get elected.
Dr. Nico.
Bob, can you read the first part of that question one more time, please?
As a member of the Select Board, what will your skill set bring to the board, and what committees do you think you would be an asset to?
Thank you. As far as skill set, currently I have served as a chiropractor in Scituate for the last 22 years, and a few years before that all over the country. So as a doctor, I'm not generally the person you say right off the bat is suited to a political career. But as a person who's been involved in Scituate since pretty much the moment I got here, I think the first thing I did when I moved to Scituate with my wife was to go sign up for a mooring on the list, because I didn't have a boat, but I knew I wanted one at some point. The second thing I did was really get involved in this town, mostly initially with our youth, because as we said, we were raising our little kids at that point. But I've been involved in a lot of different things in town, and I've really continued to learn and learn and learn. It's something I still want to do if I'm elected to the board. As far as specific committees, my passions have luckily given me a lot of involvement with a lot of the committees in town. Specifically, I served on the planning board early in my time here in Scituate. I learned a ton at the planning board. I would love to be involved with the planning board again. I really enjoyed my time there. It was a great way to learn about exactly how things work, how things are put together, how you put restrictions on to certain uses in town, but still don't restrict so much that the citizens and the residents can do what they wish as they live here. I served as a member of the Chamber of Commerce Board for 9 years. I was the president for 2, and I think serving as a liaison to both planning, but also something like the Economic Development Commission would be something that I've done a little bit in the past and I would really enjoy doing again. The time I spent as Scoutmaster for 7 years, and as well as serving with multiple volunteer projects in town. I've served a lot with the Conservation Commission. Most recently, I was part of the process of helping the Boy Scouts, and specifically one of our Eagle Scouts that just gained Eagle, helped to create our first public campground, which probably a lot of people don't even know about yet, that just went online literally less than a month ago. I'm excited to serve with conservation and continue working for open space, working to protect our wetlands, working to make sure that we give all of our residents access to those spaces, like a trail that we're really currently working on up off of Mordecai Lincoln, up in that conservation space. So I really enjoy working with conservation as well. And finally, the school board, the school committee. I absolutely have a massive amount of passion for our public school systems. And while the select board does not run the schools and does not run that budget, I absolutely would love to work as liaison with the school committee because I just have always had a passion for our kids. Thanks.
Thank you. Same question, David.
I'm going to ask you to repeat it.
As a member of this select board, what would your skill set bring to the board, and what committees do you think you would be an asset to?
So I'll definitely bring levity to the board. That's something that's always saved me. I think my goals would be to, and my ability is to bring people together and to negotiate. As someone who had to negotiate for years damaged vehicles, let's say, and come to some sort of agreement, understanding that a fulfilling negotiation in the end is when both parties walk away slightly dissatisfied. So I love to have the discussion. I love to bring balance. I think I could bring balance. I bring a perspective to a board that I don't believe is represented at this time from someone who's worked here and lived here over the last 53 years. I mean, I bring a different angle to it, and I think when you bring a different angle, you bring a different discussion, and you bring up different points. So I think those are important. The ability to listen and comprehend and work through it. I'm a mechanical mind. I've told a number of people I have to figure out how it works. So I think those are things. Patience are things that I bring. As far as liaisons, probably the ones I'm not most interested in, so I will learn. I think as a liaison, my perspective on a liaison is to be there and watch that discussion and watch that information come out, and through observing and participating, but through observing, being able to come up with some deductive reasoning and come up with some discussion points that maybe in that initial discussion aren't being talked about. So there's nothing that I wouldn't sit on. I've been to waterways for the last 12 years. I guess it was maybe 10 years. So that's a comfortable place for me, being on the water, working in the harbor, doing those things. Those issues, are pretty relevant. So I think I would serve. It wouldn't bother me on anything, to be honest. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Mary Ann, same question.
Thank you, Bob. I think my legal background would certainly be a good addition to the current composition of the board. Jamie Gilmore has a background in construction and the trades. Sue Harrison has a background in healthcare administration. Andrew Goodrich has a background in public affairs. And so I think adding a legal background to the composition of the board would add value to the board and maybe save us a few bucks with town council. I have earned a reputation over the years as someone who is results oriented, and I am a good problem solver. I have the ability to look at a chessboard, understand the competing constituencies that are present during a negotiation or a task at hand. I have had the privilege of working for a number of entities who have actually hired me to, during my consulting business years, big corporations that are headquartered here in Boston, international unions, local businesses like Roach Brothers, smaller businesses, nonprofits who have hired me to advocate for their concerns and navigate governmental obstacles or opportunities that are impactful on their businesses. So I think I bring that skill set as well. The ability to have had experience in navigating different aspects of government that could either create opportunities or present obstacles to what we as a municipality are trying to accomplish. I have a pretty good working relationship with our state officials. So I think that that is important, as well as our federal partners. Much of what we've taken on the last few years regarding big ticket infrastructure projects involve and require partnership at the federal level and the state level, whether that is through funding opportunities, permitting processes, just sort of understanding how to navigate that and advocate effectively so that we squeeze as much juice out of those partners as possible to accomplish our goals.
Thank you so much. Before we leave, I just want to say there's two questions on the end of the ballot. I'd like you to read them. One is debt exclusion for VOTEC, and the other one is admissions from Pilgrim Nuclear Plant. I don't have time to read them. We're running out of time, but I really want to thank the candidates for coming here. I think we got a lot of good information. We got to know them a lot better, and I think that whatever happens, we're going to win. We'll come out ahead. They're all great candidates. So thank you so much for coming, and drive safely going home.
Thank you so much. How about a hand for Bob for this great moderator? So we'll come back again next year and keep it going. We did have a few questions that were handed in. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, and I think with the weather and everything, it's time to get home. But I do encourage everyone to reach out to the candidates with any questions that weren't covered today. Just a quick summary. We had one about, does anyone running for the board have any conflicts of interest as a board member? There was a question about pesticides being used on town property, like the common and sports fields. I think that's a great thing to ask about. And there was another question that we got handed in tonight about salt marsh protection and just general environmental protections. I don't think we covered that too much tonight, but that would be an excellent follow-up question. So I encourage everyone to follow up with the candidates at a certain time. So we do really appreciate everyone coming tonight. We really appreciate all the candidates' participation, so thank you. And yeah, we really think also that the community info people who came before, that was excellent. We're going to continue to try to do efforts like that. And just thank you very much, and please drive safely home.